Inflation is skyrocketing across the country, but as the U.S. fights economic problems at home, the White House continues to debate the origins of the coronavirus in China. Joining us to talk about all of this and more, my friend and former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury in the Trump administration, Monica Crowley. Monica, so great to see you.
Nice to see you too,
You look amazing.
Rick. Thank you. Likewise.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, I'll take it any day of the week.
Yes, good,
Thanks.
You're just coming out of the Trump administration where you saw everything inside Treasury, all of our jobs reports, the economic push, sanctions around the world. What an interesting job that you had. When you look back, what do you think was one of the biggest accomplishments that the Trump administration had at Treasury?
Well, it was such an adventure and the honor of a lifetime to serve President Trump and serve his economic agenda at Treasury, where you're right, we were in the middle of everything important from tax policy to economic sanctions on the world's worst bad guys. So it was a fascinating experience. I think looking back, there are a couple of huge achievements for which the president should be very proud and Secretary Mnuchin as well. The first is the tax reform of 2017, which lowered every American's taxes and helped to generate the Trump boom, including a blue-collar boom.
Which is so interesting for Republicans, right, to be able to tout that.
Incredibly important, Rick, and of course President Trump gets no credit for this, but he really should. You know how the Democrats have long talked about wanting to reduce the wage and income gaps in America, reduce unemployment, reduce poverty? Well, in 4 short years, President Trump actually did those things. And the primary driver, of course, was the tax reform. But he also did regulatory relief, he did fair, more reciprocal trade deals, and he unleashed America's great energy sector. All of those things helped to generate a booming economy pre-pandemic. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, he stood up all of these incredibly innovative, very effective programs to get the American workers and American businesses through that acute period of crisis.
And you know, so much of the time we saw politicians and others who collect paychecks throughout the entire pandemic. They didn't go without money. Making decisions about shutting down the economy for low-wage workers who are suffering. I was watching CNN this morning. I know I shouldn't have
Rick?
been.
Why, I ask why.
I like to get all charged up. And Christine Romans on CNN literally said that coming out of COVID, the winners are going to be low-wage workers. What do you think of that?
Not true. 100% false. First of all, again, the Democrats for decades have talked this big game about wanting to uplift those at the lower end of the income ladder. Well, President Trump actually did it with pro-worker, pro-growth economic policies. Then after the pandemic, President Trump actually presided over the fastest economic recovery on record from any crisis.
Why do you think that was?
Why? Because number one, he stood up these programs to get us through the acute period of time. But also 1 year ago, when the economy really started to open up, all of those pro-growth policies kicked back in and was able to generate the kind of job creation that we saw coming out of the acute phase of the crisis. Now what you're seeing, and by the way, those policies lifted all boats, including most significantly those at the bottom end of the income ladder. That's why President Trump had a blue-collar boom. What they're talking about on the left is completely false, and for one main reason. There's been so much money pumped down into the system with this unprecedented fiscal and monetary stimulus that we needed during the crisis. But now President Biden and the congressional Democrats want to spend trillions of dollars more, which is already creating these inflationary pressures. And you know who suffers most in inflation? Low-wage workers. Why? Because it's a regressive tax.
And
it
I think
those at the bottom more than those at the top.
I think if the Republicans focused on that, they would be able to continue this kind of Trump win of blue-collar America. That's going to be the, I think, difficulty for Republicans. How do you keep blue-collar workers voting for Republicans if Trump is gone.
Yes. Well, you know, Trump was the blue-collar billionaire, right? And so in 2016, he actually inspired a massive political realignment. It wasn't Republicans who elected Donald Trump in 2016. It was disaffected Democrats. It was blue-collar workers, and it was independents. And so the challenge for the Republican Party is simply to point out the truth that President Biden and the Democrats' really destructive economic policies of borrowing, taxing, and spending at this massive level is going to hurt the average American worker most of all.
Well, it's such a pleasure to see you. Can we go to lunch today?
We are having lunch today. I can't wait.
I knew that. Thank you, Monica.
My
It's
pleasure.
so great
Thanks,
to see you.
Rick.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.